Here's another example from my favorite stamp set from the new release. This one is called A Bunch of Art, and it's SCX 163. This set comes with all the stamps that you see on here, plus it comes with a coordinating stencil, and it also has a matte mini that coordinates with the rose. But I'm going to show you how to do a simple flat card with this stencil, and this makes your life so easy. So there's a lot of pieces on here, and it's kind of confusing, but if you look, here's the vase, and here's my vase. These little slits that you see here fit the top and the bottom of the vase, and that allows us to add more color here. So you can add a different color, or you can add a darker color using the same color that you use. Just keep adding more until you get some contrast there, and that makes the vase look a lot better. So I think I'm going to do my vase in cornflower blue. So I just need to ink my blending tool, and I will kind of lightly swipe over my vase. I like to make the edges a little bit darker so that it looks a little more rounded. And I think I'm just going to stick with, I think I'll switch to potting soil. So I'll just take my little detail blending tool, and this is where you see how valuable these things are. There's a big slit and a little slit, so the big one's at the top and the little one's at the bottom, and you'll see that when you put it on the vase, it's only going to fit one way. So now you can see my vase is protected. I'm just going to add some extra color to these little trim pieces here. And no masking is needed. This is why I'm in love with these blending tools. You can see I have a little bit of highlight in the center, super easy to do. The next thing I'll do is to color my rose. And you'll see this is the rose here. And kind of a good starting point, because I store these in my stamp binder, the binding holes are on the left, so I pretty much know that this is my orientation for the stencil. I mean, it could be that way, but when you look at the bucket from the other stamp, you'll see that it doesn't, it's just kind of wrong. So I know this is the way my little rose gets covered up. And again, you can see my background is protected, my leaves here are protected. I just need to choose my color, and I think I will use some poppy. And I'm going to use my big blending tool. The little one's too little for this, and I just want to get a little bit of color down here. And that's good enough to start. And then I'll switch to the detail blending tool, and this is where the fun really happens. So I think I'll move on to sunflower. Ink this blending tool, put my stencil back on, and then I'll start adding some shading. And I'll just kind of swipe where the stamp shows you that the darkest areas are. And this is really fun. These little pieces that are turned up can be really dark, or they can be really light. And make sure you leave some lighter spaces here too, so not everything's not just one color and flat. Okay, looks better already. And then I think I'll switch to a darker color, maybe one of the reds, or orange blossom maybe. You know, you can add multiple colors and just keep going until you like it. Okay, so I might want to just kind of swipe in from the outside edges. And I think this really shows you the benefit of the detail blending tool and why I love these the stamp sets that have the stencil with it, because you have the option to make a completely flat card very quickly, and it looks good. It looks like it took a long time to do that. Alright, so let's move on to the leaves. Now when I look at my leaves, I can see that I have 3 over here, 3 over here. So I know this is how this is going to fit. And just kind of move it around until you get it lined up perfectly, because it lines up absolutely perfectly. So now I'll switch to a blending tool. Okay, and I'm going to use the regular size one for this. And I'll just get some light color on here. Just kind of press, twist, and turn. If you do the swiping motion, you have a good chance of going into area that you don't want ink. So I just kind of lightly tap, press, twist, turn. So I have my color on there, my light color. So now if I want to add more color, more contrast to it, I think I'll switch to peat moss. And this is going to be the darker green color. And I'll switch to the detail blending tool. So I'll put my stencil back on again. And then I'm going to work from the bottom of the leaves and just lightly swipe on some color so that those areas are a little bit darker. This little areas here, these actually work really well with the detail blending tools. Okay, that petal I want to be darker because it's way under the flower. A little bit here and a little bit here. And really super simple. And a little tip, I've showed this before, but this is your kind of saving grace, the Picket Fence Distress Crayon. If you decided you really kind of wanted a little more highlight to something, just a little bit of the crayon and swipe it. And just kind of blend it in with your finger. And that gives you really a nice little highlight. And don't add water, just use your finger to blend it. You can see that it makes a big difference. Okay, so that's it. A lot of things on here, but a lot of options. And once you see it used, it's really very simple, and it allows you to make a single layer card very easily.